Jenna Bush Hager's relatable vulnerability, her willingness to share life's unfiltered moments, has a quiet way of landing differently when you've lived long enough to know that polish is overrated and honesty is hard-earned. And for Al Roker, watching that openness unfold day after day on television has become less a media moment and more a mirror held up to his own life. Al has spent decades smiling through weather maps and morning banter, becoming a familiar presence in American homes. Yet beneath that warmth lies a man who understands how carefully public joy is often constructed. In his 60s, with time having pressed its fingerprints firmly onto his body and spirit, Al no longer believes that strength comes from pretending everything is fine. He has learned instead that strength is telling the truth gently, in pieces, when you are ready. Jenna's candid laughter about parenting missteps, her visible emotion when talking about family, loss, or self-doubt, reminds him that audiences, especially those who have raised children, buried parents, survived illnesses, and rebuilt themselves more than once, are hungry for something real, something that acknowledges the mess without being consumed by it. Al's own journey has given him plenty of material he once might have kept hidden. Serious health battles that forced him to confront his mortality, moments of fear masked by humor, days when simply showing up felt like a victory. For years, he believed his role was to reassure others, to keep things light, to be the reliable presence who never let the cracks show. But age has softened that instinct, and experience has taught him that people don't connect to perfection, they connect to perseverance. Deborah Roberts, his wife, an equal in both journalism and life, has watched this evolution with a knowing eye. She understands the delicate balance between privacy and honesty, between sharing enough to help others feel less alone and protecting the parts of life that need quiet to heal. When Deborah and Al talk late at night, long after the day's broadcasts have faded, they often reflect on how vulnerability has changed its meaning over the years. In their youth, it felt risky, even indulgent. Now it feels necessary, a way of saying, I'm still here, and this is what it took. Deborah admires how Jenna's openness invites empathy rather than pity, how it allows viewers to recognize themselves without feeling exposed, and she gently encourages Al to trust that same instinct when he chooses to speak about his own experiences. Al has learned that sharing doesn't always mean revealing everything at once. Sometimes it's a single sentence delivered honestly that does the most good. When he talks about illness, recovery, or the quiet fear of slowing down, he sees something shift in the people around him, a softening, a recognition, and he realizes that these moments matter just as much as forecasts and laughs. For a generation in their 60s, life is often a study in contrasts, gratitude paired with grief, wisdom paired with uncertainty, pride and survival paired with the ache of what's been lost. Jenna's unfiltered moments resonate because they honor that complexity, and Al recognizes the same truth in his own story. Deborah reminds Al that vulnerability, especially later in life, is not about oversharing, but about offering companionship. It says, you're not strange for feeling this way. You're not weak for needing rest. You're not alone and wondering what comes next. As Al continues to show up each morning, he carries this understanding with him, letting it inform how he speaks, how he listens, how he allows his own humanity to surface in small, controlled ways. He knows that the audience watching, many of them his peers, aren't looking for endless optimism. They're looking for honesty wrapped in kindness, for proof that a full life includes scars and still keeps going. In that sense, Jenna Bush Hager's vulnerability is less a personal brand and more a shared language, one that Al and Deborah understand deeply as partners who have weathered storms together. Aging has stripped away their appetite for pretense and replaced it with a quiet appreciation for truth, even when it trembles. And so, in the unspoken exchange between hosts, colleagues, and viewers, something meaningful happens. Life is shown not as a highlight reel, but as it actually is, uneven, surprising, painful, joyful, and profoundly worth talking about out loud.